Hi everyone, it's Natasha. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. So I wanted to do a revised, more in-depth version of the paper towel making into a baby wipe. And I wanted to make sure that it was very, completely detailed, in which there's no confusion. And it's actually helping other people out there. Because I did have a lot of questions. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I just went up and down the stairs. There were a few people and there was some confusion in regards to how I make it, and there's just some questions. So I guess I didn't really do a great job on the other one. I just kind of thought that maybe people would like their own version, whatever, baby safe cleaning products they wanted to use, that they are free to use that. But I guess people were curious on how I use it. I mean, how I make it. And what I use to make it. So I'm just gonna do a little demo with that. So what I use, this is like a cheap generic brand. I got this, I think, at Target. I'm gonna link it down below. Everything that I'm gonna mention, I'm gonna link it down below. And I'm gonna, yeah. So, I'm sorry, just a little out of breath. So this is an 8-cup deep container, plastic container. If you wanna use glass container, that's up to you, but get the 8 and change by 5 and change in width, and then in height, I believe this is a 4. I am also going to get the 1 in 2 and change because I want to get that for travel. So when I'm outside of the home, I put it in my diaper bag instead of keep on using the Target Up and Up baby wipes that I do have. I do prefer my very own ones. It just, I like it better. It just, I love it. I love it. So, I did try before cutting it up this way. What I noticed was you do use a lot more paper towel. And sometimes when you are wiping your baby, moms out there are going to understand this. Sometimes even though you try to conserve the baby wipe, you just can't. It will touch certain things. It will just get messy. So I like the fact that I just cut this up into smaller sizes. So it does, just to let you know, it doesn't really take that much time. Probably you can do the whole thing in 10 minutes or less. And I usually do 3 containers of these at a time. So it's not that time consuming. First, what I usually do is I make sure I have solution. This is my baby wipe solution. I recycled a Biokleen container, and now it is just labeled baby wipes everywhere. Since it's 64 fluid ounces, I put water in there, and we do have soft water. We have a water softener in our home. I then add 2 tablespoons of the Biokleen all-purpose cleaner. I just feel like that cleaner, it just cleans everything. Excuse me. As well as is very, very gentle on skin. I add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I also add 2 tablespoons of the Aveeno, the Lavender Vanilla scented body wash, the baby one. So 2. It just gets 2 together. I prefer the Bounty Select a Size paper towel, and I will demonstrate why. Because if you don't, I'm just gonna demonstrate why. So first off, if you don't have this size and you have the regular paper towel from Bounty or any kind of paper towel, it's going to be this way, right? It's going to be this big. So if I got that paper towel, I would have to fold it in half this way. And what I do is I fold it once over and another time here. Okay? So if I got the regular size paper towel, this is how I would fold that. Because I have the Select A size, what I do is I already just yank this off. Like so. I try to even it out. It doesn't have to be perfect. And it's actually beneficial if it's not perfectly aligned when you are pulling it out. So what I do is I fold it and give myself a third. It's just my assumption. And again, it's better not to be completely 100% perfect, but you don't want it to be like completely lopsided. So I fold it this way. That's just my preference, but I would suggest you fold it twice so you get three pieces out of one select A size. And I just cut it up like so. There we go. So out of the 2 A select or a 1 regular size paper towel, I will get 6 sheets. Out of these 6 sheets, I put them in my plastic container like this. And I usually fill it up to the brim. After I fill it up, what I do is I pour my solution on. And because I put that in the bottom so that it can completely soak. And the wetness of each wipe is up to you. If you want it to be like dripping wet, which that's not my preference, and I really wouldn't suggest that, because then your diaper would get wet, your baby might get fussy and sensitive about it. The changing table is gonna get wet, and then you're gonna have to dry it down. You know, it's just a little too much, but again, it is your preference. If you want it to be completely super wet, that's your choice. And you have the solution, which I made this, and I made a few containers already. I really don't know how many containers, and I haven't made a new batch since. So typically for 3 of these containers, and I actually squish it down, like if it's dry, it might go up to here. Usually I typically just keep it here level. I pour the solution over it and on the sides. It will slowly sink down. That's why I do 3 at a time. It's gonna slowly sink down, and what will happen is, let's just say you stop from here, right? After it gets soaked, it will go about right here. Like, it will just keep on going down, and feel free to push it down. Don't be afraid to push that down, and make sure your hands are clean. I mean, obviously before you do all this. So you do that, and actually for filling 3 containers, and they are like completely squashed in together like this. I use about over 1 roll. This was what was left of me making 3 containers worth. This is what was left in the second roll. I was able to squash in a lot. I mean, you have to compare how big the bounding rolls are. They're huge. And this is how much is left. Okay. So I do recommend making it this way. I know it's a little bit more time consuming, just a fraction of it. However, I have noticed too that when you are cutting it in half and squashing it in there, it does take a lot more strength. And to me, I mean, look at my size. And just to squash it in, from my experience, to squash it in 2 different containers that I tried, it was really difficult, because you want the super strong paper towel to use. If not, it will just crumble up. And these super strong paper towels, I have tried keeping the cardboard inside, and I've also tried to take it out, which is also somewhat of a challenge before you pop it in. After you're able to do that, it's it's harder to make it even. I don't know why, for it to be completely all soaked. Also, what I've noticed when I was cutting it in half this way, there was just like a huge mess in my kitchen. And it also kind of made me think that it was also just like laying on, I mean, I put like, my counter is obviously clean. I still put in like a clean kitchen towel, and then I put in a chopping board. I mean, obviously everything's clean, But still, when I was doing that and chopping everything off, they're like teeny tiny bits and pieces of paper towel that are like crumpled up, and you know, I needed to clean it off. Now, the problem with that with me is that there's certain there's certain parts that it might fall and I don't see it. Even though, you know, you've run the vacuum, and sometimes certain things you don't see, you kind of don't target on it. And I do have small dogs, and sometimes one of them is kind of a little mentally challenged and he might eat it. So I don't really want to risk that. I did try it twice in different containers just because when you cut it up, you get two. Would I advise that again? No, I really wouldn't. It was just kind of really hard to slice it because you have to slice it when it's still dry. And these are really tough ones. I just don't recommend that. I feel like, yeah, the other one might be kind of convenient when you're yanking it, but not really. Because when you're yanking it, you might be pulling one or you might be pulling three. And that's just from my experience, you know. And of course, you don't want it to dry out because there are certain people that thought, why don't you just cut it here in the middle and you could just keep yanking it. Well, to me, when you don't have like a sealed container, anytime, you know, there's always going to be bacteria that's going to penetrate in there, and it's not like you're gonna keep paying attention to it, in which, oh my gosh, that's going to be in an air bubble there and no bacteria and no dirt is ever going to touch it. So that's another reason why I don't like it that way. I do prefer doing it this way. I do think because you get a lot more paper, pieces of wipes in regard of, you know, from the paper towel. You do save you do save a lot more the more you use it, because let's just say you get 100 from the half one, right? Well, for this one, or no, let's just say you get 100 from cutting up in this way. For the other one, I would say you might get, I don't know, you might have to cut that down in like a third maybe, or I don't know. I'm not really doing the math here, and I'm not really being a math expert. But what I'm saying is, instead of getting 2, you would get 6. So you do still save a lot more, you know? So again, the recipe for my solution is I do 64 ounces of water. I do 2 tablespoons of Biokleen all-purpose cleaner. That is concentrated, not the spray one, but the concentrated version. I do 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 2 tablespoons of the Aveeno Baby, the Lavender Vanilla scent. And just that 2 tablespoons alone, it's fragrant but not overpowering when you are using it. I would suggest you get multiple of these. Probably just get the 3-pack, because you always want to have one handy, because you never know what's going to happen, and there are going to be certain days in which you're going to be too tired, you're going to be or you might be feeling under the weather, or you just don't have enough time. So it's really convenient to have more than one container. Plus, I think they sell these ones in a 3-pack. They were really cheap. You don't really need like a super fancy one. And the Bounty paper towel, these were less than $20 for 12 rolls, I believe. And I'm going to check where I got it, and I'm going to put all the links down below. So it's very, very easy. And the way that I make sure everything is mixed in is I just do this. You know, it's just a simple thing. I don't really shake it very hard because it'll just get more suds from the baby wash. I just do it that way. So by the time that I feel like it's completely mixed, and before I pour it in, I just have all of my 3 containers filled with paper towels that I've already cut up. So when I start to, before I start to pour in, I do this just to shake up the oil. And I pour it in. I let it just sink in for a few seconds, and then a lot of times what I would do is I would just push it in with my hands, and I add more paper towel because it will go down. I'll add more paper towel, I will add more solution, and because you are pouring from the top, I store them upside down, just so not just the bottom gets all of it, not just the top gets all of it, and I keep switching it back and forth, just so the entire, every single piece of layer of the cut up paper towel actually gets the solution that you poured in. So that is it. Thank you so much, and I hope that you guys out there that are interested in making your own, saving your money in regards to baby wipes, because my gosh, you go through so much. When we were buying the paper towel, when we were buying the baby wipes, different brands, our preference is the Up and Up, the Target brand, but we've used Huggies. We got the Pampers, it was a gift, and I didn't like it because of the ingredients in it. I'm trying to think, I think there are other brands that we've tried, I'm not sure, but pros and cons as well, because you're using this plastic container, it's not going to rip very easily. When the we're using the pre-made, store-bought baby wipes, because you keep yanking the top, it just tears. And for whatever reason, the bottom and the sides, I don't know why, but it seems like all baby wipe plastic is very, very flimsy and thin. So not only are you going to rip certain parts like in the bottom or the sides, but also on the top. It's just very bizarre. So there have been so many occasions in which when you open it, it's not as moist anymore. It's like super dry. And there have been occasions that I would just put water in it just to kind of moisten it up, and it would drip everywhere, just everywhere. So that's also a big pro of this one, because this is tougher than plastic, like a thin plastic. I don't know what it would be called, because it's still a container, but this is more a thicker layer of plastic. Like, you're not gonna be scared and be like, because every time I do open those when I'm out of the house, or we're out of the house and you have to change your baby, I have to open it super slow. And each time you open it, I just feel like it's not as, it's just not as good, I think. It just pops up so easily. So anyway, if you have any questions, or if I didn't put it to detail yet again, or there's certain things that you might be wondering, just, certain questions, I don't really mind. I like having conversations with you guys, and I hope you enjoy that too. So feel free to do them down below in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys, and I hope you subscribe to my channel and spread the word. Happy saving. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.